Pain. That's the first thing I remember when I regained consciousness. Not the heroic kind they talk about in our warrior tales, but the raw, burning agony that makes you wish you hadn't woken up at all. Status report, I croaked to my suit's AI, tasting copper in my mouth. The metallic tang of my violet blood mixed with the acrid smoke drifting across the battlefield. Lieutenant Lyra K. Varus, your condition is critical, the emotionless voice responded. Lower limb integrity 0%. Internal bleeding detected. Suit power at 12%. I tried to laugh, but it came out as a wet cough. Tell me something I don't know. The smoking ruins of what used to be my legs lay several meters away, torn apart by the same blast that had thrown me against the twisted wreckage of my assault vehicle. The red sun of this cursed planet hung low on the horizon, casting long shadows across the wasteland of broken machines and bodies. Our intel had been wrong, so catastrophically wrong. The human outpost we'd been sent to eliminate turned out to be a fully fortified firebase. My strike team never stood a chance. Commander T-Rax, do you copy? I called into the comm, already knowing there would be no answer. The explosion that took out our command carrier had been visible from orbit. Anyone from Strike Team Dagger, respond. Static was my only reply. Fantastic. Not only had I failed my mission, but I'd managed to get my entire team killed in the process. The Council would have stripped my rank if I lived long enough for them to do it. Through the haze of pain, I heard the distinctive whine of human transport engines. They were coming to sweep the battlefield, probably looking for survivors to interrogate. Or maybe they'd just finish off anyone still breathing. I'd heard stories about human brutality, though right now, a quick death didn't sound so bad. Suit, activate emergency beacon, I ordered, then immediately countermanded it. Belay that. Emergency beacon remain inactive. The AI's response held a note of confusion. Protocol dictates. Protocol can kiss my tail spikes, I snapped. I won't lead them to any other survivors, not that I believed there were any, but hope dies hard. I dragged myself behind a fallen storage container, leaving a trail of violet blood that would make me embarrassingly easy to track. My upper arms trembled with the effort. Ancestors, I hadn't realized how much blood I'd lost. The stims in my suit were the only thing keeping me conscious. The human transport sounds grew closer. I pulled my sidearm, checking the charge. 2 shots left. Not enough to take on whatever force they'd send, but enough to ensure I wouldn't be taken alive. The weapon felt reassuringly solid in my hand as I watched the shadows lengthen. Lieutenant K. Varus, my suit AI, spoke up. Given current blood loss and injury severity, estimated survival time without medical intervention is 23 minutes. I rolled my eyes. Your timing for bad news remains impeccable. The ground trembled as the human vehicles drew nearer. Though I doubt I'll need all 23. The sun dipped lower, painting the sky in shades of crimson that matched the blood-soaked ground. In the distance, I could make out the angular shapes of human combat vehicles approaching through the wreckage. Their searchlights swept the battlefield in methodical patterns. I tightened my grip on the weapon. Better to go out fighting than bleed to death in the dirt. That's what I told myself anyway. The truth was, I was terrified. Not of dying, we're trained for that from childhood. But dying alone, having failed so completely? That wasn't how the story was supposed to end. My vision started to blur around the edges as the first human vehicle crested the ridge ahead. The last rays of sunlight glinted off its armor plating, and I raised my weapon with shaking hands. If nothing else, I'd make sure they remembered the name Lyra K. Varus. Come on then, I whispered to myself, watching the approaching lights through the smoke. Let's see what kind of story they tell about this day. The human vehicle stopped 50 meters from my position. I steadied my weapon against the container, cursing as my arms shook. The searchlight swept closer, and I held my breath. Movement at 2:00. Behind the cargo unit, a human voice called out. Their language sounded harsh in my translator. Got a blood trail? Of course you do, I muttered. Because hiding wasn't already challenging enough with no legs. The light hit me directly, and I squeezed the trigger. The shot went wide, exploding against the vehicle's armored hull in a shower of sparks. 1 shot left. Hold your fire, a different voice rang out. Female by the pitch. Look at those markings, that's an officer. Since when do you care about rank? Blackwood, the first voice replied. They hit 3 civilian transports before we stopped them. Since the brass wants prisoners for intel, Cooper. Stand down. I heard boots crunching on debris, moving closer. A figure emerged from behind the light, tall for a human, wearing their bulky combat armor. The helmet's faceplate was polarized, but the voice that came through was clear. Hey there, Sunshine. Having a rough day? I aimed my weapon at her chest. Stay back. Really? That's how we're doing this, the human. Blackwood gestured at my ruined legs. You've got about 15 minutes before you bleed out. Less if you keep being dramatic. 14 minutes, my suit helpfully corrected. Thanks for the update, I growled. Any other good news? Blackwood took another step forward, hands raised. Your suit AI speaks English? That's convenient. Standard translation package. For interrogating prisoners, I tried to sound menacing, but another wave of pain made me gasp. How's that working out for you? There was definitely amusement in her voice. Look, I'm going to apply a trauma pack to stop the bleeding. You can shoot me with your last round if you want, but it won't change the fact that you're dying. I bared my teeth. How do you know I have 1 shot left? Because if you had more, you would have used them by now. She took off her helmet, revealing short, dark hair and features that managed to look both hard and amused. I'm Sergeant Amanda Blackwood, 42nd Marine Combat Medical Division. You can call me Amanda or just tell me to go to hell. Your choice. Lyra K. Varus, Strike Team Dagger. I don't know why I told her my name. Maybe the blood loss was making me chatty. And you can go to hell. See? We're bonding already. She pulled a med kit from her armor. Now, are we done with the threats, or do you want to waste that last shot first? I stared at her for a long moment. The pain was getting worse, and my vision kept threatening to fade out. Why are you doing this? Because contrary to whatever propaganda they fed you, we're not actually monsters. She knelt beside me, movements careful but confident. And because anyone crazy enough to drag themselves this far with no legs has earned a chance. The council says humans enjoy torture, that you experiment on prisoners. Amanda snorted as she opened the med kit. The council sounds delightful. We'll have to exchange stories later. Right now, I'm going to give you something for the pain. Try not to shoot me, the paperwork would be hell. 11 minutes until critical organ failure, my suit announced. Your AI is a real ray of sunshine. Isn't it? Amanda prepared an injector. This is going to hurt, but probably less than having no legs. I finally lowered my weapon. What choice did I have? If you're going to kill me, make it quick. Sorry, Sunshine. Quick death isn't on the menu today. She pressed the injector against my neck. But I promise you this, you survive the next hour, and I'll personally make sure you live to tell your council exactly how wrong they were about us. The medication hit my system like a splash of cold water. As the pain began to recede, I watched her work with quick, practiced movements. Her hands never hesitated, even when dealing with my alien physiology. Your team, I said, my thoughts starting to blur. They won't be happy about this. My team follows my orders. She applied pressure bandages to what remained of my legs. And right now my orders are to save your scaly behind, whether you like it or not. Why? The question came out softer than I intended. Amanda paused, meeting my eyes. Because that's what humans do. We're stubborn like that, especially when someone tells us we can't or shouldn't do something. That's not very tactical, I mumbled, feeling consciousness start to slip away. Yeah, well, neither is attacking a Marine firebase with a strike team. She secured the last bandage. But here we are. Stay with me, Sunshine, the fun part's just beginning. As darkness crept in around the edges of my vision, I heard her calling for a medical evacuation. Her voice seemed to come from very far away, but her grip on my hand remained firm. The last thing I remember thinking before passing out was that maybe, just maybe, everything I thought I knew about humans was wrong, and wouldn't that be an interesting story to tell if I lived long enough to tell it? I drifted in and out of consciousness, catching fragments of conversation through the haze of pain medication. Incoming fire, someone shouted. multiple hostiles, heavy weapons. Evac scrubbed Amanda's voice cut through my fog. Cooper, get that barrier up. We're about to have company. The world lurched as they moved me. Thunder rolled across the battlefield. No, not thunder. Artillery. The ground shook with each impact, and I forced my eyes open. Welcome back. Sunshine Amanda crouched beside me behind a makeshift barricade. Hope you enjoyed your nap, because the situation just got interesting. Define interesting, I managed to say. Your friends decided to launch a counterattack. She checked her rifle. Which would be fine, except they're not very good at telling friend from foe. They're hitting everything that moves. Another explosion lit up the darkening sky. Through my suit's damaged sensors, I could make out the heat signatures of approaching vehicles. Those aren't my people. What? Wrong attack pattern. I tried to sit up straighter. That's the Scarlet Brigade. They're scavengers, pirates. They follow battles, wait for both sides to weaken each other. Amanda's expression hardened. And then, take whatever they want from whoever's left. I checked my suit's power level 9%. They're not known for leaving survivors. Fantastic, she keyed her comm. Cooper, change of plans. We've got pirates incoming. How's our ammo? 2 mags each, 3 grenades, came the reply. Barrier's power cell is at 60%. Amanda looked at me. Your suit. Any weapons systems still online? Targeting's fried, but the shoulder launcher might work. Manual aim only. I met her eyes. You'll have to trust me. Trust the alien who tried to kill us an hour ago. Cooper's voice dripped with sarcasm. Great plan, boss. Got a better one, Amanda snapped back. She turned to me. Those bandages will hold for maybe another hour. After that, she didn't need to finish the sentence. I brought up my suit's diagnostics. If I shut down life support and reroute power, I can give you 3 shots from the launcher. After that, it's dead weight. You'll die without life support. I'll die anyway if those pirates reach us. I started the power transfer. At least this way I get to choose how. Amanda stared at me for a long moment, then nodded. Cooper, give me your spare power cell. You can't be serious. Now, Marine. A small power cell sailed over the barrier. Amanda caught it and held it out to me. Will this help? I examined it. Compatible, but the connection's different. I'd need. She pulled a multi-tool from her belt. Tell me what to do. The next few minutes were a blur of technical instructions and careful rewiring. Every movement sent pain shooting through what remained of my legs, but I forced myself to focus. Amanda's hands were steady as she followed my directions, splicing the human power cell into my suit systems. Incoming, Cooper shouted. 4 vehicles, heavy weapons. Power's at 30%, I reported. Launcher online. Amanda took position beside me, rifle ready. Cooper, left flank. Pick your targets, make every shot count. She glanced at me. Ready to give these pirates a surprise. Ready to show them why you don't interrupt a dagger operative surrender. I managed a pained grin. Even a failed one. The first pirate vehicle crested the ridge, weapons charging. I waited, tracking it through my suit's damaged targeting system. The launcher hummed on my shoulder. Now that's the spirit. Amanda squeezed off 2 shots at an approaching ground team. Though I prefer to call it a strategic reassessment of tactical options. You humans have a way with words. I locked onto the lead vehicle. Speaking of which, any last ones before we do this? Just try not to shoot me by accident, Sunshine. I'd hate to have wasted all those bandages. The pirates opened fire, energy bolts sizzling against the barrier. Cooper returned fire from his position, taking down 2 pirates trying to flank us. I took a deep breath, feeling the suit's power fluctuate. Amanda. Yeah. Thank you for not leaving me out there. She fired another burst, dropping a pirate gunner. Save the sentiment for after we survive this. On my mark. The lead vehicle's main gun powered up, its barrel glowing ominously. Amanda waited until it committed to its firing arc. Bark. I fired. The launcher kicked hard against my shoulder, but Amanda's hand steadied me. The projectile streaked through the twilight, connecting with the vehicle's exposed weapon housing. The explosion lit up the battlefield like a second sun. "Holy shit," Cooper sounded impressed despite himself. "Direct hit." "2 shots left," I reported, already tracking the second vehicle. Power dropping. Amanda reloaded her rifle. "Make them count." "Cooper, fall back to our position. We're about to lose the barrier." The remaining pirates seemed stunned by the loss of their lead vehicle. They hesitated, which was all the opening we needed. Second shot took out their support gun. Third shot hit a power core, starting a chain reaction that sent 2 more vehicles up in flames. The surviving pirates scattered, apparently deciding we weren't worth the cost. As my suit's power died, I slumped back against the barricade. Every breath hurt, but I couldn't stop grinning. "Not bad shooting for someone who's supposed to be dying." Amanda checked my bandages. "Though your form could use work." "Next time I'll try it with legs." The pain was coming back in waves. "Assuming there is a next time." She pressed a fresh injector against my neck. "Oh, there will be. I've invested too much time in keeping you alive to let you quit now." Cooper joined us, shaking his head. "I can't believe that worked." "Of course it worked." Amanda started checking my vitals. "We're Marines. We adapt, we overcome, and occasionally we let alien officers shoot missiles from their suits. Standard tactical doctrine," I mumbled as the medication took hold. "See? She's learning already." Amanda keyed her comm. "Base, this is Blackwood. Area secure, request immediate medical evac. And you might want to bring a xenobiologist. I've got a very interesting patient here." The red sun finally set, leaving us in the glow of burning wreckage. As consciousness faded again, I realized something had changed. For the first time since waking up on this battlefield, I wasn't just surviving. I was starting to hope. The evacuation transport never arrived. Instead, the night lit up with anti-aircraft fire. Multiple bogies dropping from orbit, Cooper reported, scanning the sky, blocking all approach vectors to our position. Amanda swore as she checked the tactical display. "They really want you dead, sunshine." Not pirates this time. I analyzed the flight patterns through my suit's remaining sensors. Those are Nexus commandos. Elite hunters. Friends of yours. More like professional rivals. The council must have hired them when my team failed. The pain was getting worse, even with the medication. "You should leave me. 3 kilometers to your base. You could make it." Amanda gave me a look that needed no translation. "Cooper, how many we got?" "At least 2 dropships. They're deploying ground teams." He hesitated. "Boss, she's right. We're out of options." "Wrong. We've still got the option where nobody gets left behind." She started checking her gear. "Besides, I hate it when people tell me what I can't do." I grabbed her arm. "Amanda, listen. These hunters, they're not like the pirates. They'll keep coming until they complete their mission." "Then we'll have to change their mission." She grinned, but her eyes were serious. "Cooper, remember that mining tunnel we passed? The one with the unstable supports?" Cooper's eyes widened. "You're not serious." "Get on the comm. Tell base we're going underground, and to have a medical team ready at emergence point Baker 7. She turned to me. "How's your upper body strength?" "Better than my lower body strength," I replied dryly. "Why?" "Because you're about to get a crash course in human firefighter carry." She started adjusting her armor straps. "Cooper, give me your backup power cell. We need her suit running for this." The sound of dropships grew closer. Through the darkness, I could see the hunters' landing lights, spreading out in a search pattern. "They'll have thermal tracking," I warned as Cooper helped Amanda secure me to her back, "and seismic sensors." "Good thing we're about to give them plenty of both." Amanda checked the makeshift harness. "Comfortable." Like being strapped to a moving wall, I could see over her shoulder, which meant I could still fire a weapon. "You realize this is insane." "Welcome to working with humans." She handed me her sidearm. "Cooper, take point. When we hit the tunnel, we've got maybe 5 minutes before they track us." The supports won't hold that long, he protested. They don't need to. She started moving, surprisingly steady despite my weight. They just need to hold long enough. We made it 30 meters before the first hunter spotted us. Energy bolts sizzled past as Cooper laid down, covering fire. I squeezed off 2 shots with Amanda's weapon, forcing them to take cover. 200 meters to the tunnel, Cooper called out. They're trying to flank us. Amanda didn't slow down. Lyra, watch our 6. Cooper, save some grenades for the tunnel. I tracked movement through the darkness, picking my shots carefully. These hunters were good. They moved like shadows, using every piece of cover. But they weren't expecting their target to shoot back. Nice shot, Amanda commented as one hunter fell. Remind me to thank whoever trained you. Bold of you to assume I was trained and not just naturally talented. Tunnel entrance, Cooper disappeared into the darkness ahead. Clear so far. The tunnel mouth loomed before us, a black void in the rocky hillside. Amanda's breathing was steady despite the pace and my weight. Ready for the fun part. If this is the fun part, I'd hate to see your idea of trouble. I shot twice more at the pursuing hunters. Amanda. Yeah. When this is over, you're teaching me how humans define insanity. She laughed as we entered the tunnel. Deal. Cooper, light it up. The first grenade detonated behind us, bringing down part of the entrance. Dust and debris filled the air as we pushed deeper into the mine. Emergency lights cast everything in a red glow. Seismic charges, armed, Cooper reported. But if we blow the supports, the whole system could come down, Amanda finished. That's the idea. I felt her shift, taking a different grip on my legs. The hunters will expect a trap. But they'll follow anyway, she replied. Because that's what hunters do. Cooper, how far to the junction? 50 meters. Picking up multiple signals behind us. The tunnel creaked ominously overhead. I could hear the hunters now, their boots on the metal grating. They were being cautious, but they were still coming. They're too close, I warned. If we blow it now, we'll make it. Amanda's voice held absolute certainty. Cooper, mark. The world exploded. Not with fire, but with the grinding shriek of metal and stone. The tunnel began to collapse behind us, a chain reaction racing through the support structures. Amanda ran. I clung to her, firing blindly behind us as the collapse gained speed. Hunters screamed, cut off by falling rock. The floor buckled beneath us. Junction, Cooper shouted. Right turn, now. We crashed through a maintenance door, just as the main tunnel caved in. Amanda's momentum carried us several meters before she finally stumbled to her knees. I rolled free, ears ringing from the collapse. Dust filled the air, making it hard to breathe. Through the haze, I could see Cooper checking the tunnel junction. The collapse had sealed off our pursuers completely. Well, Amanda coughed, sitting up. That was interesting. You humans have a strange definition of interesting. I tried to wipe dust from my face. The hunters. Either dead or trapped on the other side. She checked her tactical display. 2 kilometers to the emergency exit. Looks clear. Cooper helped her secure me to her back again. Base reports medical team en route to Baker 7. They're not happy about the tunnel collapse. Add it to my tab. Amanda adjusted her grip on my legs. Ready for another run, sunshine. I looked at the sealed tunnel behind us, then at these 2 humans who'd risked everything to save an enemy. With you? Always. She started walking, her pace steady and sure. Good answer. Now let's go see about getting you some new legs. The emergency exit was still half a kilometer away when my body decided it had enough. The first seizure hit without warning. Amanda, I gasped, my muscles locking. Something's wrong. She felt me stiffen and immediately stopped. Cooper, get the med kit. They lowered me to the ground as tremors racked my body. The pain medication was wearing off, but this was different, more violent. Talk to me, sunshine. What's happening? Amanda's hands moved quickly, checking vital signs. Blood toxicity critical, my suit announced. Foreign chemical interaction detected. Cooper swore. The trauma packs. They're not designed for her species. No, Amanda's face went pale. The coagulating agents are breaking down. She grabbed her med scanner, running it over my trembling form. Her blood chemistry is completely different from ours. The medicine that stopped the bleeding is poisoning her. I tried to speak, but another seizure hit. My back arched as fire seemed to race through my veins. We need to flush her system. Amanda ripped open her pack. Cooper, give me your water. All of it. It won't be enough, he said, but handed over his canteen. Amanda mixed something in the water. Lyra, listen to me. Your body is rejecting our medicine. I need to know what's your species-based chemistry. Copper, I managed between spasms. We're copper-based, not iron. That explains it, she finished mixing. This is going to hurt, but it should bind to the toxin. She lifted my head. Drink. The liquid tasted like metal and fire. I choked, but she kept it coming. All of it, sunshine. That's an order. I wanted to tell her she couldn't order me around, that I wasn't one of her Marines. But another seizure stole my words. Her temperature's spiking, Cooper reported. We need to cool her down. Amanda was already removing pieces of my damaged suit. The mineral content in the tunnel walls. It's mostly copper ore, right? Yeah, but Cooper caught on. You want to use it as a heat sink. Help me move her closer to the wall. They lifted me carefully. Direct contact should help regulate her temperature until the binding agent works. The cool rock against my back provided some relief. Amanda kept monitoring my vitals, her face tight with concentration. You know, I said between shudders, on my world, this level of medical intimacy would make us officially bonded. She smiled, though worry still lined her eyes. Proposition me when you're not dying. Bold of you to assume I'll stop another tremor, weaker this time. Though I have to say, this isn't how I planned to learn about human medicine. Most of our first dates do involve less seizures, Cooper commented, earning a glare from Amanda. Toxicity levels decreasing, my suit reported. Core temperature stabilizing. Amanda let out a breath. The binding agent's working. Your body's breaking down the harmful compounds. Good, I closed my eyes, suddenly exhausted. Because I'd hate to survive hunters and pirates just to be killed by your primitive medicine. Primitive, she checked my pulse. I just improvised a copper-based chelation treatment in a mining tunnel. That's practically a medical breakthrough. Write a paper about it. My voice was getting weaker. Call it How Not to Save an Alien. I was thinking more like interspecies trauma care for stubborn patients. She brushed dust from my face. Stay with me, sunshine. No sleeping until we reach the medical bay. You're very demanding for someone who shot at me a few hours ago. Cooper checked his tactical display. 300 meters to the exit. Medical team standing by. See, Amanda started replacing the damaged suit components. Just a short walk. Well, Carrie. I managed a weak laugh. Is this how you treat all your enemies? Only the special ones. She prepared to lift me again. Ready. Looking up at her determined face, I realized something had fundamentally changed, not just between us, but in how I saw humans. Their adaptability, their stubborn refusal to give up. It wasn't weakness like the council claimed. It was their greatest strength. Amanda, my voice was barely a whisper. Yeah. Thank you. For seeing me as worth saving. She secured me to her back once more. Everyone's worth saving, sunshine? Some people just need a little more convincing than others. As we started moving again, I felt consciousness trying to slip away. But Amanda kept talking, telling stories about her training days, bad jokes, anything to keep me engaged. And somehow, despite everything my body had been through, I held on. Because that's what you do when someone believes in you that strongly. You prove them right. We were 100 meters from the exit when the wall exploded. Breaching charges, Cooper dove for cover as debris rained down. They cut through from a parallel tunnel. Amanda spun away from the blast, shielding me with her body. Through the settling dust, I saw the familiar silhouettes of Nexus Commando armor. Targets acquired, a synthesized voice announced. "Stand down, Marine Blackwood. This matter doesn't concern your species." Funny, Amanda backed us toward a support column. "It became my concern when you started shooting at my patient." The lead hunter stepped forward, weapon raised. "The Council has ordered the elimination of all Strike Team Dagger personnel. Final warning." "Hey, Amanda," I whispered. "Remember when I said they'd keep coming until they completed their mission?" "Yeah." "No, I have an idea. But you're going to hate it." She glanced at me. "Those are my favorite kind." "The Council wants me dead because I know too much." I kept my voice low. "About their secret weapons program, their real plans for human space." Amanda caught on immediately. "Cooper, record everything." The hunter's weapon hummed. Silence. "They're not here to kill a failed officer," I continued louder. "They're here to bury the truth. About the bioweapons they're developing, the staged attacks on their own people." The hunter fired. Amanda rolled us behind the column as the shot scorched the wall. "The Council's getting sloppy," she called out. "Sending assassins to silence prisoners? That's going to look great in the peace talks." "Especially the part about targeting medical personnel," Cooper added, his comm unit blinking as it transmitted. "Pretty sure that violates about 6 interstellar conventions." More hunters poured through the breach. Their leader's voice held rage. "You understand nothing." "I understand plenty." I forced myself to sit up straighter. "Like how you're transmitting everything back to your command ship. Standard protocol, right? Recording your kills." The hunter hesitated. I pressed on. "Which means the Council is watching right now. Watching you attack wounded prisoners and human medical staff, breaking every law they claim to uphold." "Last chance," Amanda warned them. "Walk away, or this gets really public." For a moment, nobody moved. Then the hunter's weapon whined as it powered up. "The Council sends their regards." Now I grabbed Amanda's rifle, using her shoulder to steady my aim, not at the hunters, at the tunnel ceiling above them. She understood instantly. Cooper. His grenades arched through the air as I fired, targeting the weakened support beams. The hunters realized too late what we were doing. The ceiling came down with a thunderous roar, burying most of them. 2 managed to dive clear right into Amanda's line of fire. "Clear," Cooper shouted after a moment. Transmission sent, Amanda reported. "Every ship in orbit just got a front row seat to that show." She looked at me. "The Council really won't like that." "Good," I sagged against her, my strength finally giving out, "because I really don't like them." She caught me before I could fall. That was either brilliant or insane. "With humans, is there a difference?" "Not really." She lifted me again, more gently this time. "Cooper, get that door open. Our ride's waiting." Through blurring vision, I saw emergency lights ahead. The exit was close. "Amanda." "Still here, sunshine." "When I can walk again, we're going to have a long talk about human tactical doctrines." She laughed as we moved toward the light. "Looking forward to it. Though I should warn you, our tactics usually involve a lot of improvisation." I noticed my voice was fading. "It's terrifying. And impressive." "That's us. Terrifyingly impressive." The door opened, revealing a medical team waiting with a hover stretcher. As they lifted me from Amanda's back, I grabbed her hand. "We make a good team." She squeezed back. "Yeah, we do. Now let's get you fixed up so we can make some more trouble together." "Promise." "Marine's honor," she grinned. "After all, someone's got to teach you proper explosion timing." The last thing I saw before the medics sedated me was Amanda following the stretcher, still watching my back. And I knew that whatever came next, recovery, debriefing, dealing with the council, I wouldn't face it alone. Sometimes the best allies come from the most unexpected battles. And sometimes getting shot down is just the beginning of a much better story. 3 weeks later, I sat in the human medical bay, watching technicians attach my new legs. The synthetic limbs were a marvel of combined engineering, human design merged with salvaged components from my combat suit. Looking good, Sunshine Amanda leaned against the doorway, grinning. Though I still think we should have gone with the rocket boosters. One impossible thing at a time, I flexed the new joints experimentally. The council's diplomats are arriving tomorrow. I know. Base security's going crazy. She walked over, examining the technicians' work. You ready for this? To publicly denounce the council's secret weapons program while demonstrating human-alien cooperation, I smiled, as ready as anyone can be for political suicide. Not suicide. Revolution. She pulled up a chair. The transmission from the tunnel went viral. Half the council worlds are demanding investigations. The technicians finished their work and stepped back. One gave me a thumbs up, a human gesture I'd grown fond of. Try standing, he suggested, slowly. Amanda offered her hand. I took it, letting her steady me as I rose. The new legs felt strange but strong, like their makers. Well, she asked, how's it feel to be tall again? I took an experimental step, then another. Like starting over, I met her eyes. But that's what we're all doing, isn't it? Base commander wants to establish a permanent joint medical division. She watched me walk the length of the room. Says we need experts in treating both species, especially certain stubborn ones who keep getting shot. That only happened once. So far, her expression turned serious. They're also talking about exchange programs, combat training, tactical integration, real cooperation, not just treaties. I reached the window, looking out at the base. Human and alien medical personnel moved together with growing familiarity. In the distance, joint patrol teams prepared for their shifts. The council won't like that, I said. They prefer keeping species separate, easier to control. Good thing you're not council anymore. I turned to face her. What am I then? Whatever you want to be, she shrugged. Partner, teacher, living proof that our species can work together. Or just a warrior who's learned there's more than one way to fight. You make it sound simple. Nothing simple about it. She stood, joining me at the window. But nothing worth doing ever is. I took another step, feeling the smooth interaction of human and alien technology keeping me upright. The hunters called you primitive, you know, said humans were too unpredictable, too chaotic to be trusted. And what do you think now? I think that chaos is exactly what the galaxy needs. I gestured at my new legs. Look what we've accomplished in 3 weeks. Imagine what we could do in a year, 10 years. Terrifying possibilities, she quoted my earlier words with a smirk. Terrifyingly impressive possibilities, I corrected. Though we'll need someone to help bridge the gap, teach both sides how to work together. Know anyone qualified. I took a final step, my movements now smooth and natural. I know a human marine who's pretty good at impossible rescues. Think she'd be interested in a more permanent partnership. Amanda's smile lit up her face. I thought you'd never ask, Sunshine. Tomorrow would bring politicians and protests, accusations and denials. The road ahead would be harder than any battlefield. But looking at our reflections in the window, human and alien standing together, I knew we'd face it the same way we'd survived that first day. One impossible step at a time. And somehow, that felt exactly right.